Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Kokiw, and if you've stumbled upon this channel and you love football, this is the right place. Welcome to the first ever episode of something I like to call the Seahawk Recap Show. Now, what is the Seahawk Recap Show? Well, it's a football podcast, and it's going to be talking about, you guessed it, the Seahawks. So let's get right into it with some of the introductions. So, who am I? Why did I start a podcast? Who is my favorite current Seahawks player and my favorite all-time Seahawks player? Well, who am I? Well, my name is Ryan Kokiw. I am a journalism broadcast alumni, graduate from Fanshawe College. I graduated in 2022. And a little bit about me, I am a sports fan. I love American football and hockey primarily. Those are the two sports that I really enjoy and am really passionate about. And right now, I decided that because I love talking about sports, I decided, you know what? Why not tell my opinions to a camera and see if people will enjoy a guy just rambling on and rambling on. Also, another thing is that I have a physical disability. So I was not able to play sports professionally. And that is why I turned to journalism as a way to help my passion. I've always had a passion for sports ever since I was younger, but I could never actually professionally play them. So why not turn to journalism and talk about it? So, why start a podcast? Well, I've been debating this since basically I graduated in April 2022. I just wanted to really know whether I wanted to do a Seahawks podcast or if I wanted to do a hockey podcast. And finally, on August 4th of 2022, I decided, you know what? I love football. Football season is coming up. So why not just make football podcast and talk about some football? So my favorite current Seahawks player, well, my favorite current Seahawks player is now back in a Seahawks uniform for the 2023-2024 season, and that is Bobby Wagner. A little bit about me as a Seahawks fan. My fandom for the Seahawks started in 2013. I never really got into football, watching football as much, but this is the first team I actually sat down and watched a couple games, and I fell in love instantly. I was technically a 49ers fan um, as a kid, but I just liked the colors of the jerseys. And as a kid, that was enough. But when I saw the Seahawks play for the first time on TV, I forget who it was against. I think it was against the 49ers, actually, funnily enough. And I decided, you know what? These guys are cool. I want to follow them. So I decided to football and actually following the sport um, semi-casually throughout my younger years. And now here we are. So Bobby Wagner, Legion of Boom legend, one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL, in my opinion. I really still really like him as a player. I think he's still an excellent leader for the Seahawks, whether that be back in the Legion of Boom days from 2013 to 2015, or that be now in the year 2023, where he's a main staple or wanting to be a main staple in this defense. But my favorite Seahawks player of all time has to be number 89, Doug Baldwin. Reason being, I love Doug Baldwin. There were too many people for me could just pick one favorite player. So I just decided to pick Doug Baldwin because I really love him. I also really love Russell Wilson, as you can tell by the jersey behind me and by the picture behind me of the Super Bowl 48 champions. But I loved Doug Baldwin, and it was really sad to see him go at the age of 29 into retirement. I I respect him for it. I respect him uh, taking time and making the decision to retire at his prime. Because honestly, you got to look after your health. And in a physical sport like football and any other professional sport, it's very taxing not only on your body physically, but it's also taxing uh, mentally on you as a player. Dealing with families, your own family for that matter. But also I love watching him play. Doug Baldwin, he was so electric when he was on the Seahawks. You never looked at Doug Baldwin on the field and wondered, has he taken the night off? Because he never did. He was always a player that was always on the field and doing great things on the field and off of it. Okay, so that's the introductions. So, Seahawk recap show expectations. So, what you can expect from me, because this is my show, I'm going to be doing a lot of this primarily on my own. So, how long will these episodes be? Well, I'm looking for 40 minutes or more, depending on news flow. So, what I'll be discussing each podcast episode is news of the week. I'm going to not only be talking about Seahawks, but I'm going to be talking about the entire NFL world. So, I'm going to be taking bits and pieces each week, biggest headlines, biggest things I want to talk about, and basically just give my opinion. I'm not a very analytical person. I'll try to provide stats and analytics here and there, but a lot of my opinions will come out. I'm a very passionate person when it comes to my opinions, and I love having debates with other people. You can debate me on my opinions in the comments. All I ask is that we keep it civil. I know sports talks and conversations can get heated depending on where you stand on certain things within the sports realm, and there will be a lot of bias. But if you're going to debate me, at least just keep it civil, hear me out, I'll hear you out, and we'll have a good discussion. If you have any suggestions on what you would like me to talk about, I am open to that. I am going to try and be as active in the comment section as possible, getting feedback from you guys who are watching, because at the end of the day, this is for me as well, but it's also for you guys. So whatever I can do to help get the best experience for you guys watching is something I'll try and take into account. I'm also going to have video ideas. So those will actually be the more Seahawk related stuff. So when preseason hits in September, that's preseason, that's regular season, that's playoffs. I'm going to be discussing all those games. I'm going to be recapping all those games, like the name suggests. Recapping the games, giving my opinions on what I think the Seahawks did well, what I would like them to improve on, and what my expectations are for the season. So I will be your guide through the 2023-2024 season and beyond. Another thing I'm going to do for the videos is roster moves. So for the Seahawks, if they make any trades, signings, I'm also going to have a video out then discussing whether I like the trade. I think this is a good fit. What I'm expecting from certain players and those kind of things. So, what days will I be doing the show? Well, for the podcast episodes, I'm going to be doing them primarily on Fridays. I'm going to try to get them out to you Saturday, so a day after they're recorded. So I will also be doing day of videos for the recaps as well, but those will be out hopefully the day after. Why do them on Fridays? Well, it just gives the NFL world and it gives me time. It gives me time to look at a lot of topics that I think are important, and it gives a lot of time for reporters to report things and discuss things, and then I'll give my opinions on them. So it gives them time too to give me some content. Where can you find Seahawk recap show content? Well, primarily, I'll be posting content on this YouTube channel and hopefully soon Spotify, so I can also get you not only video format but also audio format promoting my content. I would highly suggest for this YouTube channel, turn on notifications. Make sure you got notifications on so that you don't miss an upload. I know you've heard this from every other generic YouTuber out there, but it really does help. But also, I'm going to have the channel's Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to be posting on there to let you guys know when a new episode drops so that you guys can stay up to date. And I'll also be trying to post some thoughts on Instagram and Twitter on there as well. So there's the Twitter handle, and it's Seahawk Recap, or on Instagram, Seahawk Recap Show. Or you can even follow my personal Twitter or LinkedIn. My Twitter is Ryan Kokiw, and my LinkedIn is Ryan Kokiw. Here is the meat of the episode that we're going to be talking about today: the 2022-2023 regular season. Oh boy, this season. This season was a gigantic question mark for every Seahawks fan out there. It's always interesting being a Seahawks fan because you never know what the team's going to do. Year by year, you can have hope, you can have complete despair, and you never know what they'll do. And they will surprise you a lot of the time, especially this season. A 9-8 record overall gave them second in the NFC West. That's insane to me because looking at what they did last year with the big blockbuster trade with Russell Wilson, he was a top three quarterback. You can fight me on that all you want. He's a quarterback that I really enjoyed. I will always remember Russell Wilson's time here, even though it didn't really end great. I will still remember him and still thank him for helping the Seahawks achieve a Super Bowl. But this season, going into it particularly, we had Geno Smith, a journeyman quarterback who is 32. His last starting job was 2015 with the Jets, and that was under Adam Gase. That was his last starting job. And ever since, he was a backup for the Chargers behind Philip Rivers. He was a backup for the Giants, New York Giants, behind Eli Manning. And for the past, I believe, 3 seasons, he was a backup for Russell Wilson and Seattle. So when Russell Wilson got injured last season and Geno Smith came in, I was beside myself because I forgot. I didn't know much about the guy. I could not remember all the way back to when he had a starting job last. And he did okay, still ended up having a losing record, but that's just the way that season went. But this season in particular, we were looking at a full season of either Geno Smith or Drew Lock. And to be honest, not having a franchise quarterback like Russell Wilson scared me because that is the first time I have looked at the quarterback position and went, oh, what are we going to do with the quarterback position? We decided on Geno Smith. I was a doubter. I didn't think he was going to do anything. I thought he was going to be mediocre. Let's just be honest. I thought he wasn't going to do much. But that was just purely from a fan perspective. I did not expect us to do this well in the West, but we did. So let's talk about it. Offense was ranked 9th overall, like just in the entire league. Stellar. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that the Seahawks were going to have a top 10 offense in the 2022-2023 season, I would have laughed in your face because I would have just went, well, we have no quarterback. What are you talking about? But points for 9th, total yards, 12th in total yards for the offensive rankings, 11th for passing, 6th for touchdowns. Jim Smith threw 30 touchdowns. incredible. He deserved comeback player of the year because I don't think anyone expected him to throw 30 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions, and that got him 12th in the rankings, which genuinely is really good. He bought into this system. Yes, this was a contract year, but I think he came to play. And I think at 32, when he made those comments about him feeling 21 again, I was like, "Are you okay? You're 32. You're not 21." But I think durability from being a backup for so long has given him new life in his career. Because being an NFL quarterback, it's hard, man. You're getting hit, you're getting hurt, you know. But if you're a backup, you can just sit behind people, learn the playbook, and learn how they play. You can study your starter and try to pick out parts of your game and go, well, he did this really good thing. Can I add that to my arsenal? And that's what I think Geno Smith did, sitting behind Russell Wilson for 3 years. But we look at the rushing rankings, and this is where I was really impressed with Kenneth Walker this season. He was something else this season. 1,000 yards, insane for him. Great rookie campaign. He's done really well. 22nd in attempts, fifth in yards per attempt, which is really good, and 18th in total yards. But here's what I don't like. Touchdowns, 22nd, bottom half of the league, 12. We need that to go up. We just need that to go up, especially in a system where Pete Carroll, I love him to death. He is my coach. He will always be my coach. If I had to pick a coach to coach a team, he would be that coach because he's got so much energy. For a guy in his 70s, he has got more energy than anyone else on that field. And I think that's a little bit delusional, but it's true. The man hypes everyone up and people feed off that energy. All right. Well, and here's the bad news. And Seahawks fans, oh man, their defense, 25th, just not good enough. Just not good enough. New defensive coordinator, I get it. But Seahawks fans are tired of seeing this. We're tired. Well, at least I know I'm tired. I can't speak for every Seahawks fan, but at least I know I am tired of seeing the defense in the bottom half of the league. Because if we're gonna beat the 49ers, if we're gonna beat the Eagles, we need a defense that can really step up. Defense wins championships. I know that's cliche, but it's true. If they can't score and you can score just a little bit, you win. It's how you win the game. All right. Do I have to go through these stats? I guess I will because that's my job. Points against, 25th. Yards allowed, 26th. Pass coverage, yards allowed, 19th. 18th. Touchdowns allowed. Interceptions, 15th. I'm happy with that. I am really happy with the interceptions this season. I'm really happy with the drafting of Tariq Woolen. I am really happy with Kobe Bryant because they're rookies, man. They're rookies and they got the shot and they proved that they can be starters for us going forward. And having a year now under their belt coming into this season, oh, they're just going to get better. If they can produce, if they can keep producing, oh wow. It's the future is looking bright in that secondary. But we're looking at the touchdowns allowed, bottom half in yards. Can we stop allowing so much yards? I know that there's a little bit of an asterisk to these stats because injuries. But if we keep blaming injuries for everything, we're not going to get anywhere. Every team has injuries. Every single team in the NFL has injuries. Every team in professional sports has injuries. I don't want to have that as an excuse. We need to keep that down. Speaking of keeping things down, our rushing defense was, in a word, shambolic. I think is the right word. Let's read through it. 19th yards allowed, attempts third. So that means we were third from the bottom. We were run against 525 times. Teams were going in, looking at Seattle on their calendar and going, okay, you ready to feast and get your numbers up for fantasy? Hey, well, it's Seattle. So yeah. Yards per attempt, seventh. Yards allowed, third, worst. TDs allowed, fifth, worst. We can't have that. We just can't. We need pass rush. Again, injuries, Jamal Adams, but he's a pass rusher and he's a big pass rusher, but one man is not going to make or break your defense. Jordan Brooks, that was a big hit, superstar in this league, and you can record that and flip it at me 100 million times and say I'm wrong, but I think he is the future of the Seahawks linebacking core. Injuries, injuries, injuries. Well, okay. Next man up. Next man up needs to be better. That's all I'm gonna say on this. It's a business after all, and if you don't perform, what have you done for me lately is the term that we use as sports fans. What have you done for me lately? I don't care what you've done for me in the past. What have you done for me lately? And at the moment, this defense just needs to improve. I think the secondary is bright, but other than that, it needs to improve, or else we're not going to beat the likes of the 49ers and the Eagles. Okay, here is my favorite part: the Seahawks off-season transactions so far. Now, this does not include what's happened in training camp. This just includes what's happened through free agent frenzy. So, free agents retained Geno Smith. Oh, what a time. What a time for Geno Smith to put up some massive numbers. What a time for this guy. 3 years, 105 million for those 3 years. Well, guess we found our starter. I guess he's the starter now. All right. I'm fine with it. I'm a believer. It's time. I'm a believer. After that season, after what he put together, if he can do at least half of that and be serviceable and be clutch when we need him to be, oh, it's gonna look nice. And great for him. He deserves every penny of that. He won comeback player of the year. I couldn't find the only person I could see taking it from him was Saquon Barkley of the Giants, but he deserves comeback player of the year, no doubt. Now, another quarterback in Drew Lock. Well, Drew Lock, 1 year, $4 million, but a maximum of 7.5 million if he gets his incentives. So Drew Lock, capable backup. In a word, capable backup. I think he's completely fine. He is, I believe, off the top of my head, he's 24 or 25. This is a 1 year deal. This is what I like to call a no risk deal. If you want to resign him, you can. If you don't, you can get rid of him and you can move on to another guy. But I think Drew Lock, he did decent. He did really well in training camp when Gino was and him were fighting for the starting job. Very similar numbers from last season, but I think he deserves this. I think this is a prove it deal. This is a thing where we're gonna give you this money. We're gonna make you as a backup. You learn behind Geno Smith. You learn behind Geno Smith. We'll give you opportunities when we can, but Geno Smith is your mentor now. Learn from him, learn the playbook. Just keep on growing your game because I think there's still hope for him. I think in the Broncos system, you look at his starting stats and you're like, okay, a little bit of hero ball here and there, a little bit of I got to do everything kind of here and there. But, I think he's a backup and I think he can be mentored and I think he could potentially be a starter in this league. I just don't know yet. I don't know enough about him. From what I've seen, small sample size for me, but we'll see what happens. So, Phil Haynes, 1 year, $4 million. With the departure of Gabe Jackson, this just makes sense. I think this really is a time for another prove it deal. Can you be the starter? This guy is young enough to still be able to be a starter in this league. I think he's now finally getting the chance. Gabe Jackson experiment done. He's now getting the start that he wants, and I think frankly needs. This is a prove it thing. And if he's great, Okay, we can pay you. If you're not, okay, see ya. And I really hope he does well because he's playing for my team and he's probably going to be the starter. $4 million. Yeah, that's probably starter money in my opinion. Wide receiver Cody Thompson, 1 year, $870,000. Just I don't know what to say. Depth option, just a depth guy. You need depth guys in the NFL. You need guys that you can use in a pinch. But this guy I have a lot to say about. Next on the list, Nick Ballore, 2 years, $6.6 million, linebacker slash fullback slash special teamer. This I really like. I really like Nick Ballore. I think he deserves that contract. I think his time in Seattle has been great. He's been great on special teams. He is a captain, or at least was a captain last year. I think he's going to get the one of the captaincies this year. And from what I know, he's a great leader. He's a good guy off the field. He can get guys going. And 6.6, you won't see him uh doing anything really hectic, but he's just a solid player. He's a guy that you can use. He's a guy that is dependable, and he plays two positions. So you need a linebacker? Okay, he can slot in for a linebacker. You need a fullback? Okay, he can help protect Kenneth Walker and block for him, or catch passes out of the backfield. So I'm completely happy with this contract. I'm glad to see him back. Now, last one on the list for retained, the kicker, Jason Myers, 4 years, $21.1 million, could go up to $22.6 million with incentives. 4 year deal. I love it. You need a kicker, and you need a reliable kicker. You can't go into the season with a kicker that is not kicking at least 50 yards. Like 50 yards is the bare minimum, I think. Honestly, I think that is the bare minimum now. With the Justin Tuckers of the world, I think you need to be kicking 50 plus. And you need to be reliable. And I think Jason Myers is reliable. He is the he has been the most reliable kicker since Steven Hauschka back in the Legion Boom days. So I'm completely fine with this deal. Free agent losses. Now, running back Rashad Penny, Eagles. Am I sad about this? A little. Am I jumping for joy that he's gone? No. I never want to see somebody leave the Seahawks uniform unless they're completely awful on the team and they don't fit the scheme and uh, they're not great for the team. But Rashad Penny, man, he didn't like where he was drafted. He was drafted 2017 with Chris Carson, but he was drafted first round, 28th overall, I believe, off the top of my head. And he could put it together. You could see flashes. But with every Seahawks running back, we always have injuries to our running backs all the time. Welcome back to, I believe it was the 2017 season. Takes me back. CJ Procise broke his leg. Rashad Penny, torn ACL. And I forget what happened to Chris Carson, but he had a big injury as well. And we had to use Marshawn Lynch and I think Ruben Turbin as our running backs. And losing a run back like Rashad Penny, injury prone, is my only problem with him. Uh, I hope he puts it together, man. I don't mind him as a player. He must be a good guy. I think he is a good guy. And I hope he does well in the Eagles. Now, the next guy on the list, another running back, Travis Homer. This one stunk. This one really sucks. Um, Reason being, well, he's on the Bears now. I have nothing but love for Travis Homer. Third down guy, third down running back. Could get you yardage when you need it. You know, Kenneth Walker, Travis Homer, B.J. Dallas. A great running back room. Great guys. Love him to death. could get you yardage, is dependable in small doses. Don't think he is a starter in this league. But he is a good tandem running back. Split the carries with RB1. You could do a lot worse than Travis Homer. And the blocking ability. The blocking ability is what I'm going to miss the most about him. Because he's not afraid to block, and he can block. Like if you've seen him in games, and I've watched a little games here and there. And from what I saw, he was a good blocker. When he was asked to block, he was a blocker. He would go at them and run at people. You're not a lineman. You're not supposed to be this good at blocking, but he is, and it really sucks to see him go. Wish him all the best. Now, linebacker Cody Barton. He's with the Commanders now. Cody Barton on the fence. I'm just gonna be so honest about this. Again, like Rashad Penny, showed flashes of what he could be. Was great to have him in the Seahawks uniform. Was good behind Bobby Wagner in that middle spot. But again, he's a guy that I think with all the additions at linebacker and with the prospects like Boya Mafe, he was just pushed out. Just a lot of depth at the position, and he was a casualty of that. And I think contract year knew they weren't gonna really re-sign him. Sucks, but it's a business, and I hope he has a really good time on the Commanders. All the best to him. Defensive end L.J. Collier goes to the Cardinals. Oh man, when he was released, all I saw on Instagram from either it was Seahawks fans or it was just people being really mean, and they were saying, "Oh well, good riddance." It's just couldn't get it, couldn't put it together. Waste of a pick. Um, and honestly, that's not needed. I think that is really not needed. He wasn't great. I'll give you that. He's not a guy that I would say had to come back for the Seahawks, and I'm not losing any sleep over him leaving the Seahawks. But I think if he can put it together, he could still salvage his career. I think he really could. And I wish him all the best with the Cardinals. Okay, now we're on to the two safeties. Jonathan Abram goes to the Saints. I another one. I'm on the fence about this. I don't love it. Don't exactly care. He was a good player when he was on the field, just a solid depth guy. When he was on the Raiders, I noticed he was on the Raiders and he was doing decently. And he came to the Seahawks. The only thing I disliked about having Jonathan Abram was I believe what he did to Debo Samuel. I believe it was Debo Samuel when he after the play was over, he grabbed the cleat of Debo. I think whether it was intentional or not, uh, I think he tried to hurt him. I don't know, but I hope he doesn't do that, and I hope he learns from that. I hope he realizes that that was a bad thing to do, and I wish him all the best on the Saints. Now, talking about another safety, and this is Ryan Neal. This one also stings for me. I like Ryan Neal. Sad to see him go. Honestly, sad to see him go, but just like Cody Barton there, I think just pushed out. And he was great for the Seahawks. Played 10 games this season, did everything he was asked, tried his best. Next man up is a capable backup, maybe a fringe starter. Could definitely, I think, play for the Bucks as a safety. I wish him all the best. I wish we could have kept him. So wish him all the best on the Bucks. All right, and then we get to the center slash guard, Kyle Fuller. He goes to the Broncos. This one, I just have no idea. For me, honestly, not going to lose any sleep over it. It's time for him to go. Same thing like LJ Collier, just couldn't get it together. Really, for me, not really memorable. I know that's harsh, but I really didn't really see him on the field as much. I really didn't, you know, think that this really sucks for them. But I wish him all the best on the Broncos. I really do. I think he'll have fun on the Broncos, and I hope that he does well in his career. All right, and my third really sucks to see him go pick is Of course, Marquise Goodwin goes to the Browns. Oh man, I love Marquise Goodwin. 49er. Loved him as a 49er. Just so electric. Great speed. Third receiver option. Great third receiver. Just all around just a good guy. Wouldn't put him anywhere else but the slot, but at least for me, that's at least my opinion. But he was really great for the Seahawks, and I really wonder if the JSN pick in Jackson pushed him out with all the wide receiver depth in Derek Young and Dwayne Eskridge. Veteran leadership for the Browns. All the best to you, Marquise. I have nothing bad to say about you. And now here is my favorite thing to talk about. Let's talk about the free agency additions. And you know how I said we needed to help with pass rush? Well, we got it. Defensive end, Dermont Jones, former Bronco free agent, 3 years, $51.53 million. All right, so you're gonna start. From what I remember from the Broncos season this year, the one of the few bright spots was that defense. One of the few bright spots was the pass rush. And I'm so glad to have someone like him on the team to help out that pass rush. I really want to see if he can really help out this pass rush. Another guy, former Seahawk, is now back with the Seahawks after going from Seahawks to the Packers and then the Chiefs. He's back as a Seahawk, baby. Jared Reed, 2 years, $10.8 million. That's a DT. That's your Al Woods replacement right there. Will he be as good as Al Woods? Who knows? But I remember from what I've seen from Reed, he knows the system, knows Pete Carroll, and I'm just glad to have him back. Great pickup. Oh, welcome home. Middle linebacker, Bobby Wagner. 1 year, $5.5 million, goes up to $7 million in incentives. If you're a Seahawks fan like me, doesn't it just feel right? Never leave us again. Please, management, never cut this man again. He is navy, gray, and green. That's the only colors I will see him in. We can just forget about the Rams year. He had a pretty down year with the Rams, but so did the Rams. And I think Bobby Wagner, last remaining regiment of or remnants of the Legion of Boom. And I think veteran leadership to a T. Give this man a captaincy right away. I don't care. He is the defensive captain. Um, and I think in a limited role, now at this point in his career, a limited role. Don't ask him to pass coverage much because what is the first thing? What are the two most important things that we lose with our age in professional sports? Durability and speed. Now, when I say speed, I think he is still a tackle machine. I think he's a guy that you use on rundowns, you use on third down in run packages, and you just let him go after the running back. He can play some coverage too. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's more of the next guy on the list, Devin Bush's job. 1 year deal, $3.5 million. One risk, 1 year, one shot to prove himself. From what I remember from Steelers football, when I was watching him when he was healthy, the only issue I have with Devin Bush is his injuries. If he can get back to his original self, when I was watching him, he's a tackle machine. He's just like Bobby Wagner, just a tackle machine. He's young, he's fast, and that's a person along with Jordan Brooks that I can see just just wreaking havoc. I honestly really hope he gets back to himself and can stay healthy. And now, shoring up the offensive line. Never a bad thing, in my opinion. Evan Brown, 1 year, $2.25 million. And Lions fans, can you help me out with this one? because, frankly, I don't know much about Evan Brown, but from what I remember from the Lions season previous, the Lions surprised people. They surprised their fans. This season was just so entertaining because you never knew was gonna happen. And I think with a person like Dan Campbell, people were running through walls for him on the team and shoring up the offensive line. Never a bad thing in my book. Just please make goals big and large for Kenneth Walker and company and protect Geno Smith, please. That's all I ask. And probably out of the bunch, this is definitely in my top three of favorite signings this offseason right now. Julian Love, 2 years, safety, $12 million. Oh man, this is your Ryan Neal replacement. All right, I'll take a Julian Love. From what I remember from the Giants, he was good. What I want to see from him, I don't know yet. I don't know what to expect. I just want to see him get on the field and show what he can do. And he signed to do a 2 year deal, so he can be a backup. He could be a starter to challenge Jamal Adams if Jamal Adams gets injured again. All right. The 2023-2024 season. My predictions. And this is where it gets a lot more editorial. So let's go over the offensive ranking first. I'm not going to get to the record just yet. If we can stay a top 10 offense in the league, I would love that. I really would. Even if Geno Smith regresses a little bit and doesn't throw as many touchdowns, doesn't throw as many yards, I hope Kenneth Walker gets those yards and can just have a really good season like he did this season. The defensive ranking. Now, this is a big jump, and I can tell you that I might be a little delusional and I might be a little crazy, but I want to see them middle of the pack. They need to be middle of the pack, please, in order to beat the 49ers, in order to beat the Eagles, in order to do anything in the playoffs, you need at least a solid defense because offense can't do everything. And with the new additions on defense, I think they can do a lot better than 25th like they did this year. And if everyone stays healthy, I'm looking at you, Jamal Adams, looking at you, Jordan Brooks, please stay healthy. Please. I ask. I just want you guys to stay healthy. I want to see your full potential. With the addition of Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, slot corner in Kobe Bryant. Oh boy, that secondary just got better. All right, let's go to the breakout player. And you might be looking at this right now and going, Kenneth Walker. Ryan, why would you think Kenneth Walker's going to have another breakout season? Well, he's coming off 228 carries, 1,050 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Receiving is 27 catches, 165 yards. I want more, please. Not in the yardage department, but I want more in the touchdown department. I want to see double-digit touchdowns. I don't care if he sacrifices some of his yardage to get those double-digit touchdowns. I want to see more from him. I know right now in training camp, he's got a groin injury. And I know right now, I keep forgetting his last name, but the second rounder, Zach, he's a running back as well. And he, I believe, is out indefinitely with a shoulder injury, I believe. And I really hope that this running back room gets better. I believe in this running back room and I believe in Kenneth Walker. And with the additions to the offensive line, now getting a center in Evan Brown, who I can believe in, and now with the departure of Gabe Jackson and putting in Phil Haynes, I think he can elevate this running game. And I really hope so. Hot seat player. So if you don't know what a hot seat player is, let me just give you a brief definition in my own words. Hot seat player is this is a make or break season for you. In my opinion, this is a make or break season for safety Jamal Adams. Reason why I say this has only played 25 games in the past 3 seasons he's been with Seattle. He got traded for 2 first round picks. One of those first round picks turned into Garrett Wilson, wide receiver who is doing exceptional in the Jets organization. And he then signed a 4 year extension worth $70.58 million. Now, yes, he is a pass rusher. He plays low in the box for safety, but he just can't stay healthy. And this is the point where if he has an issue, again, you got to decide whether he's worth keeping. Because this deal right here, this 4 year deal, takes until he's 30. We can't I can't in good conscience, and I love Jamal Adams. Let me just say that right off the hop. I think he is, when healthy, maybe top 10 safety in the league for me. But there's the asterisks when healthy. And he just hasn't been. And that's where I think, honestly, you need to think about if you got the Jamal Adams insurance in Julian Love, but man, he has another issue. If he has another down year due to whatever, you got to seriously think about maybe moving on from him. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but it's a business. And that is my hot seat player. Now, you notice that I skipped over the record. Let's go through that together. I think they're going to go 10-8 with the addition of the new game. I think they get second in the NFC West again. I think it goes 49ers, Seahawks, Rams will bounce back and probably challenge for that second spot, depending on how they do. And Cardinals will be in fourth because Cardinals are not having a good time right now. At least from what I was reading, at least from what I've heard over the past couple of months, they haven't been really having much good news to talk about recently. But a 10-8 record will lead to this here. The 2023 schedule. And I'm going to go through this with you. I think we split with the Rams. I would love to win an opening day. I really would. Really love to win on opening day. I think we split the Rams. This could be a toss-up game. I think we win against Carolina on Monday night. Hope we win against the Giants. Bye week. We lose against Cincy. Win against the Cardinals. Win against the Browns. Lose against the Ravens. Win against the Washington Commanders. Lose against the Rams here. Lose against the 49ers. And I think, honestly, win against the Cowboys. We can win against the 49ers once. I think we split that with them too. Um, but looking at the Eagles, that's a bit of a tough task. I think we'll win against Tennessee. I think we win against the Cardinals and we lose against the Steelers because sometimes with Seahawks football, it's always like a one possession game somehow. Like there's never been a time in my uh life as a Seahawks fan where I am very comfortable really as a Seahawks fan because it's always an adventure. And in a good way, it's always an adventure with this team, but sometimes they make me want to check my blood pressure after every game because they scare me. Because some of the games that they should win, they lose. Some of the games that they shouldn't win on paper, they win, and you're like, but I think with all the new additions, I think this is going to be a very good year. Honestly, I have optimism And I hope the Legion of Boom 2.0, yes, I said it, on defense, I hope the future looks bright for them, man. I really hope this is a good season. And I hope you come along with me for the 2023-2024 season. Thank you very much for watching. And like, subscribe, share with all your Seahawks buddies. And even if you have some buddies that aren't Seahawks fans, share with them too. Why not? All right. I will see you on Friday for the next episode of the Seahawk Recap Show.